But you know, I'm single like everybody else is here, and my parents are really worried about me. They want me to get married, and they don't really appreciate my sense of humor on the subject. I mean, I was over there the other day, and I said, Mom, Dad, listen, I want to tell you something. I met someone, and I think it's serious, but I have good and bad news. He's Jewish. School taught me some very important things about Jewish holidays, and I quickly learned that Jewish holidays are a lot different than Gentile holidays. I mean, Gentiles have holidays like Easter, this big Easter bunny hopping around, and these colorful eggs and these baskets. And the Jewish people have Passover, where you eat these stale, dry crackers for several days, and you drink water. And the Gentiles have New Year's Day. You know, it's this big party and everybody has a lot of fun. And the Jewish people have Rosh Hashanah. That's a celebration of the beginning of the fiscal New Year. I'll tell you something. A lot of people think that Jewish people don't have any sacred holidays, but they do. Clover Day? I learned a lot about life from my bar mitzvah, but I learned even more from my mother. I'll never forget, I went to buy my first car. And my mother sat me down, she said, whatever you do, don't buy a German car. Specifically, Volkswagens. Because Volkswagens were designed by Adolf Hitler. So I thought about that, and I thought, how did he have time to do that? Did he invade Poland during the day, and then nights and weekends he'd invent Volkswagen Rabbits? But I went out and bought a car. I bought a Japanese car, an Isuzu. And I came home, my mother sat me down, she said, what kind of car did you buy? She said, you didn't buy a German car, did you? I said, no, Mom, I didn't. I bought a Jewish car. Isuzu.
Dennis was a devout Catholic. We got him down to confession on Saturday afternoon before Easter. He went in and told the priest he would carry him on with one of the local widows. And the priest said, well, widow is it? Was it the widow O'Malley? He said, no, Father, it wasn't the widow O'Malley. Then he said, well, how about the widow O'Boyle? He said, no, Father, it wasn't the widow O'Boyle either, and I'm not going to tell you the lady's name. And Father Sweeney said, well, then, how about the widow Flanagan? He said, no, that settles it. He said, I'm not going to tell you the lady's name, and it wasn't the widow Flanagan. So the priest said, well, okay, if you're not going to tell me the truth, then I'm not going to give you absolution. Very well, Father. And he's up and out of the confessional. Now on his way out the door, he runs into an old friend waiting for him in the vestibule. And his friend says, sure, I can see by the light in your eye that you got absolution. He said, no, I didn't get absolution, but I got 3 good names. Dennis had a friend, Sean, hadn't seen him for a couple of weeks, decided to go down to his place and see if everything was okay. Now when he gets there, here's Sean out at the curb, wiping down a beautiful green Cadillac. He said to Sean, is this your car? Sean says, yeah. He said, how did you manage that? He said, I'll tell you the whole story. I'm standing on the corner of 10th and Locust down in Philly. Now you know what goes on at 10th and Locust, right? He said, and up drives this lass in the car and she says, hey big boy, you want to go for a ride? And I said, yeah, I'll go for a ride. So I got in the car, she drove me out to Fairmount Park, around George's Hill, back up into the woods, got out of the car, took off all her clothes, dropped them on the grass and said, okay, big boy, take whatever you want. He said, so I took the Cadillac. Fred says you did the right thing, Sean. Her clothes wouldn't fit you anyhow.
Folks, I have a little daughter at home. Her name's Eileen. She's out there in the audience tonight, in fact. She's a pretty little girl. I usually speak about one banquet every week. When I go home in the evening, if Eileen's still awake, she calls me in her room for a kiss goodnight. I go in and she puts her little arms around me and hugs me. She says, "Daddy, did the people laugh at your jokes tonight?" Sometimes I have to say, "No, nobody laughed." Her eyes cloud up, she looks very sad, and she starts to cry. So please, folks, tonight, it's not for me, it's for Eileen. I went to a bar, sat up on a bar stool next to an older lady. There was a little dish of peanuts on the bar, and I started eating the peanuts. After a few minutes, she looked around at me, and I said, "I'm sorry, madam. I'm a little nervous tonight, and I've eaten all your peanuts." She said, "That's okay, Sonny. I'm 85 years old, and I cannot eat peanuts." I just sucked all the chocolate off of them.
How many of you people grew up in Philadelphia? Probably a lot of you. You know, in a row house, in a crowded neighborhood. Well, I grew up in a crowded neighborhood and in a crowded row house. We had a big family. As a matter of fact, I never slept alone until I got married. There was a lady that lived next door to us. She was kind of unattractive. I guess you'd call her. Well, she was downright ugly, I guess. But she really worked at being that way. Like a lot of you ladies go out and get a makeover at Max Factor. Yeah, well, she would go to Black & Decker for her makeover. Yeah, she was heavy. Actually, she was as big as a house. Her favorite dress was made with aluminum siding. She would be she'd always go to sales. She'd always shopping, shopaholic. But she was successful a lot of times. She'd always come home with some clothes for a ridiculous figure. Thank you very much. Yeah, her husband traveled a lot, and I guess she got bored because she took up a hobby, and it was meteorology, of all things. We figured it was meteorology because there was always this guy coming around. Her husband was out of town, asking her if the coast was clear. Yeah, she was a great cook, though. You know, we could tell that she was a great cook because, again, when her husband was out of town, there was always truckers parked outside, coming in and out of the house. Tell they're a good cook. Yeah. I guess I'm being a little bit uncharitable here. She was really just an old-fashioned gal. She'd sit by the spinning wheel just about every night. But she got lucky one night and won $50. Yes.
I'm Richard Smith, as Mr. Horn said, and I'm the MC for the Sunday Comics. I wanted to be one of the comedians, but it didn't work out. I think I'm really quite good. The only thing was I had a little problem remembering punchlines. Actually, one time I did 15 minutes of shtick with no notes. And, of course, there weren't any punchlines either. You know, being the MC for the Sunday Comics has been very therapeutic for me. I've had a whole host of problems this past year, and it's helped me to keep a positive perspective on things. One of the things that happened, I lost my job, like so many of us, last April, and I had to get some cash coming in quickly, so I got a job as a substitute teacher. But that was frustrating. You just can't teach these kids today. I had one kid, I heard him say, "I ain't going." I took the kid aside, I said, "Listen, you don't say I ain't going, you say I'm not going. He's not going, she's not going, we're not going, they're not going." Kid looks at me and says, "Ain't nobody going?" Then they gave me a chemistry class, and you know, kids are so worldly these days. I asked the kids if anybody could give me a characteristic of nitrates. And the girl in the back yells out, "They're a lot cheaper than day rates." And the other frustrating thing is that the school systems just don't have enough money these days. I came in one day, they wanted me to teach driver education and sex education and use the same car.
I can't think how to end this, so I think I'll just borrow a little bit from Porky Pig and say, that's all, folks.
Fairy tales can come true. It can happen to you if you're young at heart. For it's hard you will find to be narrow of mind if you're young at heart. You can go to extremes with impossible schemes. You can laugh when your dreams fall apart at the seams, and life becomes exciting with each passing day, and love is either in your heart or on its way. Don't you know that it's worth every treasure on earth to be young at heart? For as rich as you are, it's much better by far to be young at heart. And if you should survive to 105,